no. This is actually not going to sit well with the white community. This is an ultimate betrayer. How dare these white people come here to betray themselves? How dare these white people come here to expose themselves? This is actually a shameful act that is supposed to be kept secret with us, and you're coming here as a white race to say it out. The white community are not going to take it funny with these people. In fact, as it stands now, every single one of you that is actually going to be speaking as a white person in this clip I'm about to roll out, note this: you have been moved out from the white community. Now go and join the black people since you want to support the black. I really love to see when white people come out to split out facts like this. And guys, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Sonia, and this is first time tuning. Do not subscribe, like this video, drop your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we're going to be having in today's episode. This is just for educational purposes, not to bash anyone, not to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So just feel comfortable, grab your popcorn, grab your Coke, and let's dive right into this ultimate betrayal that these people cannot just keep quiet, but coming here to expose yourself.
I'm not sure who needs to hear this today, but reverse racism is not real. I know that makes you feel uncomfortable. I get it. It used to make me uncomfortable too. But I am asking you kindly to sit with me for just a minute and let me explain why reverse racism is not actually a thing. This was a tough thing for me to learn many years ago when I started this process of deconstructing all of these things that I realized I had up here in my own noggin and here in my chest. We tend to use racism and prejudice interchangeably. We use both words to basically talk about the same thing, but there's a difference between the two words. Racism and prejudice are not equal. They're not the same thing. You see, anyone can be prejudiced. Prejudice is the harboring of negative feelings or thoughts, often stereotypical and unwarranted and unfair, towards another group. This can be another group racially and ethnically. It could be another group in terms of socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, the way that somebody identifies, even religion, immigration status, on and on and on. Racism is specifically about race, but racism is systemic. You see, racism requires the power of society behind it. Now, when we talk about the United States of America and our history, a history that involves colonization, the fact of the matter is social power has always been on the side of white Europeans or people from a European lineage. You see, because it was white European descent individuals who had the power, they were also the people who created the systems that are still. What systems are we talking about? Honestly, all of them. All forms of government, both federal and local. Institutions such as prisons. Institutions like schools, universities. Also institutions such as places of worship, with Christianity being the dominant religion in the United States. Also when it comes to social hierarchies, real estate, access to land and to homes, financial institutions. All of these were established upon the white Eurocentric framework. Because of this history, it means that all of the institutions within our nation are driven and built within and function because of that specific white Eurocentric paradigm. So what does all this mean? Well, basically, white people are the majority in our country, not only numerically, but also in terms of social power and the amount of social power that we wield. Now, obviously, there's stratification within white people themselves because those of a lower socioeconomic bracket are not going to have as much power to wield as someone from a higher socioeconomic bracket. Men, historically speaking, have higher power to wield than women, but white people are at the top when it comes to social power because of the way our country was established and all of our systems were created. This means when white people exhibit prejudice, they have systemic and institutional power behind that prejudice. And that creates racist behavior. That creates racist paradigms. That creates systemic racism. You see, because when we wield our prejudices, there's a lot of power behind that. Because we basically have the backing of the society within which we live and function. Whereas when a person of color does have or exhibit any types of prejudices, it doesn't have the same type of institutional power behind it because of the history of our nation. So, fellow white people, I'm asking you, because I know this is not a comfortable conversation, the next time somebody calls you or something that a white person does out for being racist, I ask you to really, rather than immediately resort to argument about why it's not racist and justification for what was done, maybe sit with that for a minute. Sit with it and understand that racist actions are not always purposeful. You don't have to be trying to be racist to be racist. In fact, it's actually quite easy to participate in behaviors that are racist without having any idea that you have. So when a person of color calls us out on that and says, hey, hold up, or maybe even another white person says, you know what, I've learned that this is problematic. Rather than immediately wanting to defend ourselves, we need to understand that there's some validity there, right? This is something that perhaps we need to sit with a bit and do some work on. It's really easy to point fingers and cast blame somewhere else and say, yes, but they're racist too. But the thing is, like we've explained, people of color here in the United States, given our social framework, are not racist. They can be prejudiced, but it does not wield the same ramifications as prejudice and therefore racist behavior on our part. I am not an expert on these things by any means, but I am learning a lot. And I wanted to share that because I've been seeing a lot in comment sections lately about reverse racism. And it's kind of a pet peeve of mine because of what I've learned about it. So I'm just asking you, even if you disagree with me, to take into your thought bubble these words, do some pondering on it, and maybe do a little research, learn something. Because I promise you, if you're willing to just try to learn, you're going to be better for it. At least I think so. Anyways, I hope you have a beautiful evening. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
You cannot convince me that racism isn't jealousy. You just cannot convince me. Racism is jealousy. I don't know why it's jealousy. I mean, I understand the jealousy part, but why turn it into racism instead of admiration, But I think that's what jealous people do. The inventors of racism really looked at literally everybody else around them and were like, all of you? All of you. Literally all of you, except us. And I guess they couldn't stand it. And I get that, because they looked around and they were like, so it's everything. It's the face card, it's the body, it's the genetics, it's the culture, it's the food, it's the clothing, it's your homelands, it's everything. It's your women. I'd be jealous too. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be jealous too. I don't know if I'd be heinous like most of those people, but I'd be jealous too, So yeah, racism is jealousy. Highest form of admiration, I guess.
Racism is jealousy. How is it jealousy, you may ask? Okay, so I'm biracial. I'm black and white. My dad is black, my mom is white. And in my experience, having white friends with blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever the case may be, my mom included, calling me the N-word hard R growing up, and still sometimes now. Racism is jealousy, and let me feed you in a little bit of why I think that. This doesn't go for everybody, but I feel like it goes a lot for the younger generation, and yeah. White people will go and make fun of black people for having big lips, yet white people go get their lips done. White people will say, things about black people's skin tone, but then go get a tan and try to be brown. White people sit here and say they don't like black people, yet they listen to rap and hip hop music. White people will say black people have big butts, but then are on the freaking stepper at the gym, or getting BBLs out here, or injections. White people use the N-word loosely, but are so scared to actually embrace their saying the N-word, and if they get caught online, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. If you're racist, you're racist. If you're so confident about being racist, then why are you mad that you're being exposed? If you don't like black people, why are you doing everything that black people do? Why are you stealing their culture? Why are you trying to get big lips? Why are you trying to get dark skin? Why are you trying to get a big butt? Because you're making fun of black people for having these types of features, yet you're hypocritical. And I think you're just mad because black people are beautiful. Black people got the best skin ever, the most beautiful skin, and when they get older, they look so much younger. Like, beautiful plump lips. Their music is fly. Like, who can lie on that? Not all white people, but some white people like to go get braids done in their hair, but still over here trying to be racist and everything. Like, girl, are you okay? Because it's just not adding up. Are you really racist or are you just jealous? Like, think about it, sis. It's okay to want what other people have without trying to put other people down. It doesn't make you look any better. My ex-friend goes and gets her lips done. She listens to rap music. Like, something's not adding up. When black guys would text her, she would act all flirtatious, but then behind their back would speak like racism towards them. Girl, you can't even embrace the fact that you're a racist, then what's going on? You're so racist. I befriended that friend because she was racist. I don't really talk to my mom much because she's racist. My grandmother's racist, my grandfather's racist, and he will be confidently saying it out loud. He do not care. I obviously may not be fully black, but I am still black. And I have experienced racism. I have experienced differences. Like, if I'm with the white side of the family, like, I just don't look like them, like, at all. They're using the N-word towards me. Every time we get in some type of argument, it's always that I'm N-word hard R. I'm not the same as them and all this other stuff because I don't have blonde hair, blue eyes. I have curly hair, like. And then obviously, like, when I'm with, like, the black side of the family, I also don't look like them because my skin complexion, I'm more white passing. White passing with some black features. But, yeah, like, sometimes, too, it's hard being mixed. And you know what? This doesn't just go for black people. This goes for other races as well. Because people are racist towards other people, yet then go and get whatever they have done. Same thing with Hispanic people. Like, Hispanic people have beautiful skin. Like, it's nice and tan. Like, but people will say all types of stuff about them. Embrace what you have. It's not that hard. Embrace it. Stop being racist. There's no freaking reason. You're literally just jealous. And now you're out here causing mayhem for what? Whatever, sis. Every time somebody's racist towards me, I'm just like, okay. That's why you curl your hair. That's why you want my hair. That's why you try to get plump lips. That's why you try to tan your skin. Makes no sense.
Most people don't realize this, but all racism is just jealousy that has mutilated so much that now it's so evil. It's legit the almost final evil form of jealousy. And I'm not talking about the systemic racism, the racism that's in the systems that, keep black people down and keep them in certain levels type of thing. I'm just talking about the type of racism that's in people's brains and their opinions and the biases they held, things like that. They're jealous of the things that maybe black people are capable of, or the natural bodies or faces that they're born with, or I don't know, maybe even the influence that black people have on things like entertainment and music and even sports and arts, just being jealous of kind of the culture that the black community holds. And mind you, jealousy is a very normal emotion. Jealousy is a normal human emotion to feel. But then when you don't clock your jealousy, when you can't accept your jealousy, you kind of hide it. And the more you try to hide something, the more it mutilates into something really, really evil. It's very similar to misogyny. It's very similar to hating women. Men, the thing is that a lot of people who are racist don't even realize they're racist. They'll have black friends and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But you don't actually look at black people as someone who is of equal, is equal to you. But yeah, it's very similar to women, because at the end of the day, a lot of men who, and women too, who hate other women and don't even realize it, it's because they're jealous of them. They're jealous of the privileges women have, and they're very different things. But then once you cross over women and also black women, it just turns into a whole different ballgame.
She would say the lived experience as a black person of racism is different, for example, from the racism that somebody like me who's a Jew would have experienced. Now, most people would say you should never say that there's a hierarchy of racism, and that the implication of what she said is that there's a hierarchy. I'm sure she would deny that that's what she meant, but that's what came across.
But there is a hierarchy in racism. There's a racism that those of us who exist in skin that we can't hide experience. Then there is a prejudice that you experience as a Jewish person, but also being white. No one knows you're Jewish when you walk down the street. Not a single soul knows you're Jewish. And to the contrary, worldwide, especially in the UK and America, it benefits you in many circumstances to be a part of that community when it comes to financial sectors, entertainment sectors, in various arenas. Whereas me being a black man, I will always be black first. And then even worse, a black woman will always be black and a woman. So no white man, no white presenting male will ever experience the type of racism that any black woman would ever experience anywhere in the world.
We'll have to pay taxes.
We've never had
the
a
whole
Jewish president.
concept is no taxation without. We have had a white male president. We've had like 45 of them.
Whether Jews count as white or not has been sort of an object of debate for quite a while. We do. Okay.
You do.
So, I mean, it depends according to whom, and that's a pretty recent development. Okay, so
Basically everyone. It's a religion.
Judaism
Do
is
you
also
not
a
agree that you were a white man?
I mean, I think that it depends on the context in which you're discussing it.
Being black means you're a part of one of the most ostracized, oppressed, and hated communities in the world, while also being the center of the world's inspiration for culture, art, and expressionism. It's a wild dichotomy to live in, to see how everyone loves to emulate being black, no matter where you are, and being hated simultaneously. And that shows in various things, like in Europe, how they love to dress up as Africans and go to African festivals and eat African food. To America, white people loving rap music, loving the food, loving the cookout, loving the dances, loving everything about various aspects of our culture, but then hating us at the same time. You will never experience that. And this is not me saying that Jewish people don't experience any type of hate, because they do, obviously, in this world. And historically, that's true. But in 2025, you will never experience racism like a black person will. And Jewish is not a race. It is a religion. And you are a white man of Eastern European descent who happens to be Jewish. Let's not conflate the two. This is how we're in the predicament we're in now.
Some of y'all are in shock right now, but baby, America is just being who it's always been. I'm going to say this real clear. We were never post-racial. Never. A black president didn't mean we beat racism. It just meant that some people were better at hiding it. See, Obama wasn't the end of racism. He was the trigger that allows some people to load up so they can put more and more of their hate out into the world. So now with Trump back in office, what you're seeing, that's not new, baby. It's just exposed. He's been saying the quiet part out loud the whole time. See, this is what happens when racists start feeling like there are no consequences. They don't have to whisper their hate anymore, baby. They're bold. They're running for office now. They're writing laws. And they're passing bans because they feel safe doing it. And you want to know the real reason why this hurts so many young black people or people of color? It's because y'all wanted to believe in that dream. But see, the country never gave up on the nightmare.
How racism work? Can black people be racist?
You can be prejudiced.
What? Black people can't be racist? They can only be prejudiced? Calm down, and let me break this down for you. Yes, black people can absolutely have prejudices. That's just having personal biases or stereotypes about other groups. Everyone can have prejudices because that's a human thing. But racism is more than just prejudice. Racism is about having the power to use those biases to control or oppress others on a larger, more systemic level. In the US, black people don't hold the kind of power needed to sustain systems that disadvantage white people. Think about that for a second. Black people don't control things like the criminal justice system, housing policies, or job opportunities. These happen to be the systems that have historically and currently have given white people advantages. So even if a black person dislikes white people, they can't use that dislike to oppress or limit white people's opportunities the same way that racism can do that to black people. Because basically, racism is prejudice plus power. Without that power to back it up, it's just prejudice, not racism.
I'm finna make you mad. Do we have lip thinning procedures? Do you see black women going to get thigh gaps? Do you see us wearing 80 density wigs? Do you see us putting cloths over our head and riding on horses with pitchforks? Like, what I'm saying is, maybe it's not so far-fetched that racism may have been rooted in jealousy. It's crazy how many of you women are wearing lace fronts, lip filler, cheek filler, Botox, chin filler, getting your nose done. And at the end of all that, what do you look like? A light-skinned black woman. Walk around this bitch looking like Alabama Barker.
I've been seeing a lot of people online say that anti-Indian racism is so normalized because it's rooted in jealousy. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not. I really dislike this framing of anti-Indian racism being based in jealousy because it's a mental gymnastic that you need to go through to kind of find the association. And I don't blame the people who are saying this for saying it because they're trying to give an explanation as to why it feels so normal. But the thing is, though, people are inherently trying to rationalize something that is inherently irrational. Racism is inherently an irrational thing. So trying to legitimize it by saying, oh, it must be rooted in jealousy is trying to rationalize something that there is no need in rationalizing. If you look at the history of racism, especially through an anthropological lens, a lot of it is very inconsistent, starting with the fact that racism used to be used by religion. The idea that it was a God-given right that some races were superior to others. Ironically, it was the same theologians of these religions that actually turned against this belief. That's why a lot of times many of the religious Protestants within the United States were the ones who were actually the most against slavery. They turned to science, and this was the idea of race realism, the idea of eugenics, the idea of the scientific differences between. However, the scientific community rejected this because it doesn't follow the scientific model. It cannot be based on evidence. So where do people go then? If you cannot create racism, then you inherently have to do the opposite of creation. You have to do preservation. So if religion or science can no longer be useful, the model has now changed. The model is now an economic model. It's the same irony that India in one sentence can be an economic shithole that produces nothing of value, but ironically, everyone there is getting H-1B visas to take jobs in the United States. The largest weapon this current wave has is its vocabulary, because the vocabulary that it uses is a mirror of the infrastructure that exists within different countries. If you made it this far into this video, I will say if you want my advice on a next step, a tangible thing, that is stop interacting with people who promote anti-Indian racism, especially if they make content. I am telling you right now, do not watch their videos. Do not comment on their videos. Do not share it. Do not do anything to it. The best form of like revolution you can do against those things is report it. Cut their stream of income. That is the best way if you want to handle it. Do not make clapback videos. Do not give them more of an audience. I am telling you now. Ironically, I should have made this the beginning part of the video. Maybe I'll make it a separate video. I don't want to talk about Indian American politics as much anymore. This is an anime account, but I did want to add my 2 cents.
But here's my final opinion on it. I feel like racism is just uprooted jealousy, and it's like y'all cannot be us. So if y'all can't be us, y'all just gonna hate us and oppress us so badly. It didn't take everything that we do, because obviously everything that we do is cool and cute and trendy. Y'all take everything we do, yet call what we do and what we made ghetto. I genuinely feel like if you're racist to me, you're genuinely just jealous because you're not black. And maybe that's not even like a good idea or good mindset, but I mean, what else explains racism? Like, you hate me because of my skin color? Genuinely, that's just so crazy to think about. No, you're jealous. Like, I'm sorry. So every time somebody's racist, in the back of my mind, I'm just always thinking like, okay, they're fucking jealous. Like, girl, love who you are. You know, I feel like once you start loving who you are, you won't be racist. I promise.
The nicest country I have ever travelled in, with the nicest people, the most kindest people, that will do anything for you without expecting anything in return.
So this is actually a form of racist othering. And before you scroll away, yes, I know that she's defending Thai people and singing their praises, but it's still a form of exotification of a colored other or a foreign other. These kinds of simplistic observations about a foreign other have always bothered me, even when those observations are nice. And I never previously had the words to describe exactly why they bothered me so much, but now I finally do. It's the distilling of an entire population into this simple sidekick character that is so nice to you as a tourist, especially as a white tourist. This creator says over and over in that video that Thai people do things without expecting anything in return, and never once pauses to consider that maybe that is related to her position in society as a white foreigner, somebody who has white privilege, and because of the colonial hangover that exists all over the global south, is going to be exalted by the people that she encounters. These kinds of observations also imply that there are populations that are not friendly and not kind, and therefore deserve our judgment. Because if, let's say, she found that Thai people weren't as nice to her liking, then that's what she would have said, when the reality is that there are kind and unkind people in all societies everywhere. This desire to simplify certain societies as having kind people or not is very strange. It is a form of dehumanization because you're not allowing an entire population of extremely diverse groups of people to exist within the full range of their humanity, including not being friendly, including being hostile, including not wanting to help a stranger. Even if some Thai people express those kinds of sentiments towards her, that would still be valid. It would be a valid expression of their humanity. What makes it so problematic is that these observations are always about just a small handful of local people, but those observations are then extrapolated to the entire population, meaning that if there's an interaction with a small handful of local people that is negative, then that will also be extrapolated onto the entire population. And that is simply not a statistically significant way to assess the behaviors of an entire population. And as a tourist, you really shouldn't be trying to assess any of that either. You're a guest who's there to experience a new country in its full depth and breadth, and that includes negative encounters with local people. That is the complexity, the roughness, the rough edges of being a human being. There is no human being that is this smooth apparition of docility and kindness all the time, and thinking that there is a form of fetishization. It is a type of deification that is inhumane because nobody can possibly uphold that constant state of niceness all the time. But you think they can because in your mind they're not actually human. There's something else. And even if that something else is something better, it's still not fully human. There's this urge to put people in a box and to say, yes, these people are good and those people are bad. And that is racist. It's the same kind of bigotry as, well, all Asians are good at math. It might read as a compliment, but it's still a form of bigotry. Thai people are just humans. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just people. Is this making sense to anyone? Please tell me that this is clicking for you the way it's clicking for me in my head. I might write a Substack about it because then I'll have the full fluency of the writing to be able to express exactly what I'm trying to say in a very precise manner.
Welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for staying to this point. And you guys can hear it from the point of their view. Racism is jealousy, racism has hierarchy, racism is this, and racism is that. And as far as I'm concerned, that particular word cannot be erased from the people of palm color, because in as much as a lot of them are still trying to come here to deny it, that no, it is not like that, some of them are still owning it up to their chest to tell them the facts that it is like that. And that is why I said from the beginning of this video that at the end of this video, you see all of these people that spoke in this particular clip, they are going to be escorted out of the family of the white people. They are going to go back to become black. They don't want to know how it's going to be as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, I went into my research as usual because I do not just bring out videos here. I also want us to get educated and have more knowledge on whatsoever we are digesting here, not just to come here, roll out clips and just disappear, right? And then I just get to find out more about the hierarchy in racism. And here I have in many society, including America, and it is usually reflects who holds power versus who is marginalized. And in the US, the hierarchy has historically worked like this. White at the top. White people, especially those of European descendants, have historically been placed at the top of the racial hierarchy. And they hold the majority of politicians. No, they hold the majority of political, social, and economic power. The culture and identity are often seen as a norm, while others are measured against them. Black people at the bottom. Black people, because of the history of slavery, segregation, and systemic racism, have been placed at the bottom of the racial hierarchy. Anti-Black racism is one of the strongest and most persistent form of racism in America. Anti-blackness, often more severe than discrimination faced by other groups. Now, other groups in between, Asia, Latinos, Native Americans, and Middle Eastern group often occupy middle or shifting position in hierarchy. Sometimes experiencing advantages over Black people, but still facing discrimination compared to the white people. Now, between Black and white people specifically, white people are higher in racial hierarchy because they benefit from white privilege and systemic power, while Black people are lower in racial hierarchy because they face deepest and most entrenched form of racism. And white people hold the higher hierarchy in terms of privilege, acceptance, and power. Black people face the lower hierarchy in terms of racism, often being the most targeted and disadvantaged group. And these people will come here, wake up one morning and tell me that it is not only to be racial profile. Black people are more privileged than us. Black people are more this than us. Anyways, one thing I need to say about this video is I just pray that a lot of them are becoming to realize more better, because I love the fact that the Black community are actually speaking out and is making most of them to be able to realize that most of the things that they're actually doing, they are not supposed to do it. And that is why I love some of them coming out here to speak out their mind, how it is, understanding what the system is and what the system has always been, and knowing exactly how they can be able to like place themselves. I think I've actually saw a particular video of a particular man. I think I've done that video on this channel where the man was literally explaining to his fellow white folks why he stopped being highly racial profiled after every single thing that he has gone through. And at the end of the day, he found out that Black people are people that actually saved him. See, and this is one of the most important part that a lot of people are missing out. They are forgetting that these same Black people that they are just trying every single possible thing to bring them down are people that actually built the nation that they are enjoying, are people that actually put them in, as far as I'm concerned, they put them in that position. It's the only thing that is limiting a Black man, it is because of that white privilege that they have. And I did a video where they are all already coming out to be like, white people also, Black people also have privilege. And in that video, if you have not watched, you can actually watch that video. I digested it and broke them into pieces for them to be able to see that they are the one that is more privileged and they are the one that have those more racial profile. So they should not say that Black people are being racist towards them. Now, let's not get this wrong as well, right? I keep saying it that everybody can be a racist, but majority as far as I'm concerned, is coming from the white community. Yeah, that is it. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Like I said, this is just for educational purpose, not to come here and bash anyone and make anyone feel uncomfortable. This is us just educating each other. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we use in our today's episode. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, like, comment, and share. I want to use the opportunity to say a very big thank you to every single one of you super chatting. Super thanks me. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are the best. And with no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. So do not touch the die. Come back for more, and I'll say bye for now. I love you guys. And keep being a good Black person, okay? Don't let anything change you, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances. And don't forget that Sonia loves you.